Hello, everyone. And one day she discovered that she was fierce and strong and full of fire, and not even she could hold herself back because her passion burned. Brighter than her fears, yes, a strong woman is a full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. Welcome to the fifth episode of the movement called hashtag #WeToo, a platform created for the professional women by the professional women. Yes, with a goal to give confidence to be able to stand up, speak up, yes, inspire, and of course, uplift the community of other working women around the globe. So I'm your host Poonam Viti, as you know, the founder of the movement hashtag #WeToo India. Our today's topic is a very inspirational one. With an eminent and a very diverse panel of my fellow women leaders, I'm very proud to present and excited to mention that we will be uncovering women's careers and struggles in a nutshell with stories that truly inspire. For this panel, please join me to welcome an inspirational lineup of diverse women leaders. Ms. Megha Peer, Senior Marketing Professional with 20 years of global expertise. Then we have Ms. Neha Agrawal, 18 years of leadership in IT sector, a very well-known diversity and inclusion leader. We have Ms. Payal Nanjiani, a globally acclaimed leadership coach and an award-winning New York author. Yes, we have Ms. Prachi Pratap, lawyer at the Supreme Court of India and an NGO supporter in a huge way. Last but not the least, Ms. Priya Seni, Instagram sensation, award-winning Instagram influencer, an author, social media expert, and a TV host. I'm excited for all the knowledge and wisdom that's going to come your way. Let's start. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to hashtag #WeToo, a movement by the women for the women. I'm so excited to host this panel today. Welcome again. Without much ado, let me just straight come to Meghna. Meghna, you have been a brand marketing professional and a leader for the last 20 years. What I like about your profile is that beyond the challenges, beyond the challenges that you faced, there is a whole lot of story behind you, and that too on international lands. Why don't you talk to our listeners today about the challenges that you faced, how you overcome those challenges, what were your strategies, and what will be the key takeaway in terms of strategy that you can give to every woman listening to the show today?
Absolutely, Poonam. First of all, let me thank you for having me on the show. It's certainly a pleasure to have such wonderful women and colleagues from around the place, around the world, and sharing their experiences. Well, I, as you rightly said, have around 20 years of experience, and I have been to Singapore, Cyprus, worked there, and then been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years. So my journey has been quite adventurous and eventful, I would say. Right after I got married, just about a year later, I moved to Cyprus because my husband had to go to Cyprus. So when I landed there, it was a totally different environment for me. I mean, of course, when you talk of Cyprus, it's a honeymoon location completely. I mean, right after marriage, when you get to go there, it's like a oh, wow, bliss. But what happened there, I was working already here in India, but as I landed there, I realized that I don't have anything with me right now. So I started exploring. I started exploring the market, talking to a lot of people, and eventually got through Cyprus Telecom. And it was a process. It was slow. It took some time, but I went through it. Mostly the apprehension that women, especially when they follow their husbands and go out to different locations, is that you are on an employment permits, or you are on work permits and employment passes. So most of the time, to get a female working, or the partner working with the husband, it's a very tedious process. But you know what? There are a lot of people to put you down all the time, that you'll not get it. It's a lengthy process. No company will do it for you. It's better you drop it and do something else and concentrate on the family and this and that. And it was all blah, blah. But I somehow just couldn't sit. I was constantly in spite of so many things and so many people coming up to me and saying, kuch nahi hoga, you just move on, do something else, spend your time in doing something else. And you won't believe, I've started actually learning a lot of cooking while I was at home. So it was a hobby that I developed at that time. But eventually, after a lot of trying, I got through Credence. And Credence was my second job when I moved to Singapore. First job was my with the ST, wherein I started as a consultant, because consultancy was something that I got very easily. So, but for a company to actually hire you and file your employment papers and everything, it's a tedious and a difficult process, but they did that for me. So it was only due to the fact that I was constantly trying and did not give up at all. So there are a lot of difficult situations that come to your path. There are a lot of such things which will always come up to you and say that it's very difficult, drop it. And demotivators are actually the doomsday, and demotivators are always around you. But you
Tell
know
me,
what I
Megha.
have, yeah.
Yes, yes, please. Go ahead.
But you know what I have always realized is that as a person, as an individual, if you are motivated, if you are really ambitious to what you want to do, you should just try to look out for what is the best you can do in this given situation for yourself. I think that is a mantra which I follow in every possible situation that actually brings me to a hurdle or a wall or something that I cannot cross. That how can I make the best for myself in this situation? So
Absolutely. Meghna, help me understand, and everyone watching this, you're talking about international waters. You know, in
yes.
India, you know that I have so many friends. I have my colleagues, ex-colleagues, school, college, some other connection in your network you can find out. You're
Mm.
talking about a place, and talk to everyone, any women who's sitting somewhere abroad and not having a career, struggling with a career. What would you tell them? I understand from what you said that don't give up. But
Mhm.
how do you keep yourself motivated? What strategies to apply to get back?
Yes, see, there is for every country the rules are different. It's a different process for every country. But you know, there is one thing common, and that is your own persistence and your own going and following after things. You have to keep on finding for yourself that what is it that you can do. How can I make it work for myself? It may be a difficult process, but it is not impossible. Might be a situation wherein you are not capable enough, or you think that okay, my qualification or my experience is not enough to get me through a profile here. You start small. It's no problem. I started as a consultant. I started working as a consultant, and eventually I moved to a full-time role of a manager. I was handling sitting in Singapore. I was handling marketing services across the globe. So I started as a consultant, but then I moved to that position eventually. It is just a bit of persistence. It is just a bit of pushing. And of course, you need support from your family. Unless and until you don't get that, that is something that it cannot actually help us move alone ahead. We are in a society, in a community where you need that support always with you.
Absolutely.
Today, if I'm sitting here, there is love, help available in my house. That's what makes me
That's
sit
why
here.
we can.
But
Truly.
if I not have that, I'll not be able to do that. So I think
Excellent. With
persistence
this,
and
right,
always finding out a way for yourself is something that you should keep on doing,
right.
irrespective of what you are, where you are, and what are the rules and regulations, everything that's there.
Sure. With this, let me now quickly move to Neha. Neha, I know just like me, you come from a conservative background and you're the one who went ahead in the man's world. Said, I'm going to break all the whatever ceilings are available, let the ceilings come in front of me. What motivated you? How did you? I'm aware that you were the one to decide at your family that I am going to be doing an engineering degree when everybody back then did not trust you. How did you maneuver around in your career? How did you get this power? I call it a power. What went into your head suddenly when you were, passing your 12th and said, hey, you're Neha, you're very capable. The whole world will be yours. Tell us about that. Neha, your mic.
Sorry, happens. Thank you, Poonam, and thank you, Meghna, for bringing that aspect. It was so interesting to hear you out. And as you were speaking and ending on saying that how much family support means, one take before I go on my personal story is there are people who make it with different struggles where their blood relations or family do not really back them up as much. And that itself becomes a propeller for them to strive harder. And that is beautiful as well. So I always say that upbringing and culture has a huge role to play what you are today. I keep reiterating that in a world where you can be anything, be kind because everybody has their story. Sharing my story, for example, as you said, so I was brought up in a two-tier city, joint Marwadi family, a middle class one in 80s. So, girls doing job was not a priority. I would also like to highlight when you're in such a family, everything is right. And I was a second girl child, and my sister was very talented, popular. So there are so many aspects during your growing up days that make or break you. While I was growing up in all of this setup, and I was an introvert child, so it had so much of an impact. So we did not have access to neighbors, so that meant we did not get exposure to different cultures or religions or whatever. We were in girls' convent, so we did not. Men were really from Mars then. We were not allowed to interact. So and so many things. Patriarchy was a norm. So you grew up with that. Dark complexion in a Marwadi family, breaks you further. So I can go on and on and on. But that was my internal struggle, how my personality was and how I wanted to break that whole setup. I felt claustrophobic, right? Nothing was wrong in the setup, nobody to blame, but that is how it was. So as you asked me, that sometimes the hardships become your propeller to break through. We take privilege for granted most of the time. When we don't have that, you try double to make it work. And that was my motivator to really push myself. So I took a promise from my father that I'll work hard in 12th, I'll get my PCM. I want an engineering away from my hometown. And that is how I landed in Mumbai doing engineering. It's a different story that I was still in Women's University, but I had time of my life. And that was a transformational choice. So sometimes we make crucial choice because I'm an intuitive person. By gut, I knew that I have to step out. And I think every woman has that, and we must leverage that in our favor and move forward. So,
Neha, tell me why, you very rightly said, why do you say women have this fear? Why this fear? What is your take on that?
So there are so many aspects. Definitely, we are judged much more. So that, and I'm sure I see everybody nodding. So the society setup is such, right? So we are still not there. All of us in this panel discussion, I think we are among the privileged most lot while we are talking about women equality. But there is a whole system or the society setup which ingrains in us a lot of things which become norm, right? We fear judgment. I think that is the biggest hindrance why we do not take certain steps. And that is something which we must break. One key message that I always say from a career perspective is prioritize yourself without guilt. And this should be our mantra, which we don't do. So, yeah, I think there are so many fears based on, how much support we get from our environment and so many stereotypes, unconscious biases, we can go on. And these, unfortunately, are so much ingrained in the system that to even realize it is a battle. And I'm so happy and hopeful where we are heading towards.
Tell me one thing, Neha, this brings me to one more question to you. You finished your engineering, that back then was something new, right? And from the background that you're coming, then you got into absolutely man's world, totally end to end, the IT industry. Today you're leading the pack. Give the audience one thing, like what was there in your mind that not kept you on? We can see that you're a go-getter. What was that one strategy in the corporate house that because it is about alignment with so many people, that helped you go ahead and up the ladders where you are today?
I think, as I already said, prioritize yourself without guilt. So one thing which comes into picture and helps a lot is if you worry about the world and what they would say, it becomes the biggest bottleneck. So you have to go against the tide. You will be judged, you will be stereotyped, you will be perceived in certain way. And it is only human that we'll take a backseat. We are filled with emotions.
Right.
We don't channelize those emotions in the right way. And it is only human. I feel for all my fellow women because I see that struggle. So what helped me is I break stereotypes. That becomes a challenge. And I can give you hundreds of examples. I had long curls. I went bald, I went boycott, I have tattoos, everybody says, what are you doing? I color my hair. I went into inclusion space because I know it doesn't just take an LGBTQ community person to be closeted. I was closeted in my own way, in my head, based on the stereotypes that the world was throwing at me. So that fight to break the stereotypes, whatever comes my way and challenges me, I would set a legacy and leave this world a better place by leading by example. So I think
Awesome.
that is something. And having faith, last thing, Poonam, have a faith. So all of this feminism and all what we are doing is sometimes we are losing our mental peace. We are running somebody else's race. We are not sure what we are doing. I always say that is one thing, keep it. You would do all that you need to do, but be self-aware. Why are you doing it?
Absolutely,
That is
absolutely.
extremely important.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
These are some power thoughts. Now let me go and shift to a world-known leadership coach. We have with us Payal. Payal, thank you so much. Payal, I want to give some numbers out to you before you start, because the topic that you will touch bases this entire is going to reflect in a very different way to a whole lot of new segment and audience who would be watching this. Let me give you something from a report that I could dig out. Women continue to remain underrepresented at every level, starting from entry-level jobs to the top roles. According to the Women in the Workplace, and this is a little dated report, 2018, representation of women of color is the least, causing them to stay behind the white men of color, and the white women. Women of color comprise only 17% of the entry-level roles and 4% of the top levels. Now, what is really worrying is this underrepresentation, what I mentioned, gets worse in senior management positions. Only 22% of the top executives are women compared to 62% of men. Now, this is a hard fact. And also, last but definitely not the least, 38% of women are promoted to be managers. Now, you are in a space where you are, through your coaching practice, your leadership, you're an author, you have been building women leaders time and again. How did you manage to craft a path, first of all, for yourself in a foreign land, where colored women can be looked in a certain way? Tell us about it, please, Payal.
Sure, Poonam. Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. This is a great panel discussion, and with whatever Neha and Meghna said, they were like wonderfully articulated. I don't know, the way they have put it across was really true in every sense. Just going back to my backstory, Poonam, like you said, how did it start and, where did it get to? So, this happened in the year of 2000. And that's the time when I was relocating to America. And everyone was telling me, hey, you know what, you're going to a land of opportunities where people are very successful.
Right.
And, I was, when I was there, I joined corporate America. I was living the American dream in the initial phases of my life. And what I saw there is really what took me back, is what shocked me, is that despite being in the land of opportunities, despite being in a land where there are plenty of resources and there is so much of information, in fact, America is $1 billion industry to self-help and trainings in the corporate. And what really shocked me, Poonam, is the fact that there was this huge gap between people who are really successful in what they are doing, and people who are really struggling and trying to make it despite the fact that they were working hard, despite the fact that they were putting in extra hours at their work. And it is this gap that I was seeing in the organization that really made me feel very uncomfortable. That, if this is a land of opportunities, and if this is, and with the numbers that you mentioned, if this is a land of opportunities, why are we seeing this huge gap in the corporate world?
Right.
Between the successful leaders, the exceptional leaders, and the average person who is moving ahead and doing everything. And it's that one question that it all started with in my own life, that, why do we have such few exceptional leaders in the organization and in the world at large. And that's exactly where the entire journey started from, Poonam.
Sure. Tell us something about, careers, you cannot have it all. I keep saying this. Somebody who has gone through all the episodes would say, Poonam, you keep repeating, but this is the hard fact. Women cannot have it all. We really have to build a huge support system. When you were, you're living in America, you don't have the support system of family, friends, just the way we have here, a phone call and somebody can be here for my family if I want. Talk to us about some of the struggles that can inspire, and how did you really cope up?
Just based on what you said, Poonam, I'll share one incident that comes to my life. But here's the big deal,
Yeah.
any challenge that comes your way, or anyone's way, it really doesn't come based on the gender. To be honest, that challenge is not in your way. It's just on your way to success, just to test if you are only interested in what you're doing, or are you really committed to doing what you're doing. I think that's the reason any of us face challenges. And I work, a lot with the men as much as I would want to do with the women. And what I'll give you a real life incident when I say, are you really interested, or are you truly committed? This happened. So by the year of 2014, I had become highly recognized in the field of leadership, speaking and coaching here. And it was the year of 2017. And I will never forget this incident in my life. It was in that year of 2017 when I was booked to speak at one of the largest events happening in Dallas. And, I was all prepared. Everything was, just going the way it was going. It was a normal day for me back home then there. And that morning when I was supposed to leave for the conference, my younger daughter, who then was almost, I think she must have been around 10 or 11 years, 10 years old that time. And she was running high temperature in the morning. All of a sudden, she was all okay that night previous. And when I checked her temperature, it was pretty high. I called up the pediatric. They said, whatever you're mentioning, it seems there are symptoms of flu, but we need to really wait and watch. And these are the medicines that you need to give her. And my husband was traveling. He wasn't home that time either. And he was not traveling in America. He was traveling all the way to India at that time for his work. And I had no clue now, what am I supposed to do? Like you rightly mentioned, Poonam, no help, nothing at all. And I had to reach the spot because people had already paid to hear me. They had already paid the sponsors and everything. And I had to be there on that stage that I was at. And the only thing that I could do is, what I did at that point of time, I still clearly remember, my older one then was around 17 years old. And I told her, I said, look, I have to reach this place where I have to. And because I have committed to what I am supposed to do. So I told her, I said, look, the best way out for us, because my maid was not available that day either. It was just one of those days. I think it was the test of the universe. And my maid was not available that time to come either. I told her, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 hours and I have to be there. And how about this? I have you miss your school for today. You take care of your younger sister. These are the medicines. This is when you do all the things. You know how to call 911. This is how we do it. Correct. And she readily took it up. She readily took up that thing. I called up the school. I said, hey, look, you know what? My daughter has to miss her school today. And, if possible, I'll get her after half a day. But it was not possible because schools back there, get done by 2:30. So anyways, that's how we planned up everything, short story. I came back, things were fine. I had given her all the emergency numbers to reach my manager back with me there, the sponsors, everything was taken care of. And she did exactly what was to be done. And the reason I am sharing this story, real life incidents in my life, is not to impress anyone, but to really express that whatever decision you make, whether you give up your professional commitment or whether you give up on your personal commitment, most people are going to condemn you for whatever decision you make. Okay? And there are going to be just few in numbers who are going to support you. Your job is to get away from both these supporters and critics and only stick to your higher power, to your higher purpose,
Right.
When you make a decision keeping your higher purpose in mind, I tell you, there is no confusion. The universe will show you the way. You are going to be committed to doing what you are supposed to do. And the biggest factor is you will make a decision guilt-free.
Right. Absolutely.
Self-induced guilt often kills a woman's biggest aspirations.
I think
So that's just to answer you, Poonam, to what you mentioned. Is there a challenge?
I'm sure this is going to inspire a lot of women sitting out there. Think from your purpose. That's what. Excellent. Let me now move on to Prachi. Prachi, demand for women lawyers is at an all-time high now. Both law firms and companies are looking forward to. I'm quoting Hindustan Times latest report, and this is an incidence for all of us to note. Justice Sujata Manohar, the second woman judge to be elevated to Supreme Court of India, had an amusing anecdote to recount at the 5th edition of the Difficult Dialogues Conference in Goa, the subject of which was the state of the law. When she started practicing as a lawyer, she was asked by her male colleagues whether she was looking for a husband in the courts. We're talking about a Supreme Court judge. Attitudes may have changed, but across the world and in India, women are poorly represented in the legal profession. India has only 3 women judges in the Supreme Court of 34 judges and just 73 women judges in high courts. Prachi, you have been leading it from the front when it comes to women and her struggles, being a part of so many NGOs. You've started your own platform. You're associated with so many, human rights and women-oriented stuff. I'm really wanting to understand how difficult in your career frame, the legal frame, how difficult it is today. And how can you tell the world waiting out there of women who would want to have this career, how can they pave their path ahead?
So first thing, thank you, Poonam, for having me here. And my story, I feel like I've borrowed from the previous speakers. You can trace the similarities that we all have struggled. And what you quoted about justice was right, because a lot of women lawyers pass over the opportunity to become a judge because at that point their children are teenagers, 18, 17, and they have to get into good colleges. So they feel like they cannot juggle both the responsibilities. So they won't be a judge. They will stay a lawyer and focus on their child. So that's why I say working moms have it more tough. And as we know in pandemic, and I recently wrote about it also, lawyers especially face more challenges in India, especially mothers, because the working hours are such. You have to be working till 8, 9, you have early mornings, and I also have faced it. My daughter suffers from asthma, and sometimes I'm in the court and I have to rush to school because she needs me. But by grace of God, I have good support system, and I think eventually lawyers is a very wonderful community. Initially, you may feel the hesitation, but they all, or Supreme Court or in Delhi, it just becomes like a family. Everybody is willing to help. I think that is in all professions eventually. It is just a little difficult to break in. And for me, there's my story of becoming a lawyer, which I'll share in real brief right now because I've never shared it with anybody. So inspired by the previous 3 speakers I'm going to. I was a graduate in History Honours from Delhi University, followed by doing my MBA in Finance in Australia. Oh. Married to an American, we decided to move to India, challenges for him. And amongst all that, I said, okay, I'm going to pursue law now.
Oh,
so.
Wow.
So everybody is like, okay, the girl has lost her mind.
What bit you?
And then I was expecting my daughter, who arrived right before my second semester exams, early by a month. And she was around 2-3 days old. And I said, okay, my exams are starting. I've got just 7 stitches. We are flying down. I have to take my exam. My parents supported, my husband supported, and the doctor had nothing to say more than, okay, go. And I went and took my exam. And I had taken 3 exams. My daughter was almost 2 weeks old. She developed jaundice. I had to fly back again, get her into hospital, then again fly back to take my exam with her. So this little baby within a month, she had traveled 4 times. And I did not clear that particular semester exam because I missed 2 papers. So I was marked absent.
Oh.
And the next year when I took it again, my daughter had high fever. So again, missed 2 exams. So my 3-year law went on for 5 years, but by grace of God, I did it and I'm a lawyer.
So proud of you. So proud of you. I think you are testimony to all the struggles that women go through. Seriously.
So as all the previous ones said, yes, we can do anything and everything we want.
Wow.
Just have to be determined.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Prachi. Okay, this makes me come to Priya. Priya, over the course of 2019, an analysis of more than 3 million Instagram ad posts was done to determine, among others, the demographics of influencers. According to the findings, 84% of influencers creating sponsored posts on Instagram were women. Now, I'm talking about a space that is ruled by women. Let us talk about some spaces that we have captured also, right? So,
Right.
changing a profession could be daunting. I'm giving this brief because Priya created from the scratch her Instagram personal brand. Today, she has 180,000 followers on her Instagram page, and all from the scratch by changing her profession. Priya, please inspire all of us today.
Well, thank you, Poonam, for having me here. And I have already so much inspiration from all the 4 speakers out here. And I totally relate. And as Prachi was saying that, they've already covered, but I think we all share similar journey, right? And as an influencer, yes, I can tell you a lot because I started as an engineer and I wanted to become a doctor, like initially, because
Wow.
I was never allowed to think about the fashion world, like my family. I mean, I could not even think, I'm saying. It is very difficult to say that I can be a model, which I am right now. So, but I could not even think about it. So that's why I wanted to become a doctor, because I wanted to cure my mother's diabetes. So I was a child. So at that point of time, my father asked me to, go for engineering, and I went for engineering. And after that, I, changed my field to design, and I did industrial design from IIT Delhi, and that too I gave the exam after preparation of 15 days, and I cracked the All India exam. That was also God's grace, I believe. And after that, I was a bike designer, and when I was going through all those phases, my heart was lying somewhere else. I understand. And I would always, tell each and every person that it's better to know about where your heart lies earlier in your life, so that you don't have to go through all these phases.
Sure.
I'm a person, who I believe that, fits in, the key which fits in every lock. But still, where my heart lies, I had to do it at the end. So I'm a person who is into fashion, who is into beauty. I keep helping my, friends and colleagues and family. And apart from that, I'm a very spiritual person since my childhood. And once I lost my mom, it's like 9 years now. So it is, I became more spiritual, and I started reading about how our mind creates reality and how our, thoughts affect our life and what happens to the soul and everything. I just started reading about it, and I have immense, knowledge now ingrained in myself. So I'm a combination of, you can say, fashion and spirituality. And this is what I promote on my page and what I show on my page. So when I started Instagram, it was just a food blogger, one of my food bloggers. I was in the gym and she said that, I said that, why have you gained weight? She said that I'm a food blogger. I've become a food blogger and I'm eating every day. So I said, all right. So Instagram was very new at that point of time. So she said that, why don't you, bring your wisdom of, fashion styling to the world through Instagram. So I made the page on the same night, and it was a very funny username, which I put. It was the same profile, though, but a very funny name. I won't say it, but I put the name and I started. And then from there, as I said that I was a bike designer. So I quit my job after a few months, I think 2 or 3 months. And I said that, I never planned for it, but I just said that the one who takes the risk is only, I guess, 1 or 2% in the world, but those are the ones who make it in the world. So that was the one thing which was in my mind when I quit my job. I did not plan for it and I just quit it. So at that point of time, I was a person who did not know swimming, because I did not know anything about any even single person, or not even 1% about the world. So I was like a person who wants to swim and who just jumped in the water and doesn't know swimming. So somehow, somewhere I went, I don't know, it's just like, I feel that, as Payal was saying, that it's all universe supporting you. So
Right.
all the support slowly came, but yes, it was difficult because I was on my own. My family surely didn't support the idea. But I believe that once, this I learned actually during my life, even as a child, that when you do something for yourself, then you achieve it. And when you achieve it, then everyone, whosoever was not agreeing to you, they agree to you. And if you don't do the thing which you don't like or want, or what your heart says, then first of all, you're not happy with yourself. And when you're not happy, you cannot progress. When you don't progress, again, they're not happy. So in both the cases, they're not happy. But at least in one of them, at least you are happy. And then again, you have to, like every one of us are talking about the guilt. So we, ladies, we are more sensitive. We are more empathetic. That's why we start feeling the guilt. And that is the reason that, pulls us back.
Correct.
And that was the whole, I just removed that guilt. It was very tough. I love my family. I really love my family. And
I'm sure they love
that,
everything that you have done now. I'm very
yes,
sure
yes,
about
of
it.
course. Right now they are very
It's a win.
supportive. Yeah. So in the end, they will support because you are happy, you achieve something, and plus you need to do it with dignity. So as the glamour world is not, the people out there are little not very, safe. So you need to have your own dignity to say no, actually, to say no to people and to be very vigilant. That
Very
comes
nice.
with, I
Picking
guess.
up, right. Picking up from what you said, I
Sure.
actually want to go back to everyone and ask that if you were to, starting with Meghna, the way we started, give one power tool today, a one power tool from your experience of life to everyone watching you and every girl out there. I really want this episode, because this is such a diverse group that we all are sitting together today with such diverse experiences. I want every husband to take this recording back to their wife and say, hey, you must watch this. Every brother to his sister, and to friends, colleagues, and everyone. Let us just quickly give one power tool from our experiences that can change women's life out there in the corporate world, starting with you, Meghna.
Well, I am so inspired by everything that all the panelists said today. Really, it has kind of given me goosebumps. But the one thing that I would like to say to everybody out there is that, see, for a woman, there are so many pullbacks. There are so many people who will always pull you back, who will always draw strings around you, who will always make you feel that, okay, what you are doing is not good, and you are not fulfilling your duties. You are not fulfilling your duties as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter-in-law, as a daughter. You are not fulfilling all of that. That's always going to be there. But that challenges comes, just like I think Payal mentioned somewhere, that challenges not come looking at the gender that you are from. Challenges come in everybody's path. It is just that how you make your way through that. What is the best you can do for yourself in that challenge, in front of that challenge? How can you make your path through that challenge? That is what you have to think. And you know what? One more thing that we women are often kind of demotivated and I kind of pull to do is that we are always asked to, okay, leave it. It cannot happen. Just drop it. You cannot go ahead on this.
Right.
But if you just get over that mindset and keep on constantly following your path, persistence is the need. Persistence is something that you always need to have in your heart. So that is something that's going on.
So Meghna says persistence and building a strong mind. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's
Believe in yourself, persistent, and having a strong mind is something that will take you across for sure.
One power tool, Neha. Your mic, Neha.
Sorry again. Once again, everybody listening, I repeat and make this a mantra. Prioritize yourself without guilt. And how do you do that? My personal learnings is seek help. Don't try and do it all alone. Build your social capital. And one thing that helped me a lot is read. Read, it could be audible, it could be anything, but books are something I recommend to everybody. Choose your books, but you'll not get all the experiences in your lifetime. So,
Correct.
books are one of the ways.
Learn from others' life.
Yeah, but the end result, prioritize yourself without guilt. That's
Prioritize yourself without guilt. Par Mantra of Neha. Let's come to you, Payal.
For me, it would have to be never let anyone define who you are or determine your worth. Just quit playing small and begin to believe in your innate quality to lead and succeed.
Wow, quit playing small. Wonderful. Yes, Prachi.
So I'll just quickly say that the one thing that as a working mom I've struggled most, and I see others do, is balance. Balance does not happen, that, okay, this is my routine and it will be balanced. No, balance happens every day in every moment. Like my daughter says, Mom, why are there just gender roles assigned to parenting? Nobody questions a man. Are you a working dad? It's just working mom. She says there's no working dad concept.
True.
So I said, yes, because mothers are expected to balance both the worlds.
Right.
And, it has to be achieved in every day, in every situation, whether work or home. So let's not go after balance. We'll find it in the moment.
Yes. Find balance in the moment, in every moment of your life.
Right.
Wonderful. Back to you, Priya.
Yes, I would just give away this, that it is all about self-love, daily motivation, and facing your fear. So if you do all these three, then I believe that, every day will be beautiful, and in the end, the whole life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think we all deserve a clap for everything. As women leaders, we have been achieving, we want to achieve, we want to craft a career. And of course, I cannot say thanks enough to each one of you for giving your time out, for helping others. I think this episode number 5 of #V2, I believe strongly is going to create somebody's life, because some of your experience will create that magic. Thank you so much. Welcome to the #V2 community, and I look forward to communicate with you again. Thank you.